What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the red color, playing as Hades. In the top of the map, his name is Domantas. We can go low right now because my voice is really weird. Anyways, his opponent today in the blue color, playing as Poseidon. His name is Punkstar. Yes, the map is Mirage. This is game number 2 for the Challengers League qualifiers. Round of 32, which is a best of 5. So, yeah. So Domantas won that first game in a Hades mirror. Punkstar now opting to move into a slightly different god to try something just a little bit different here in this matchup. We'll see how it's going to go for him. Mirage is a bit of a funny one. There's this backwater that spawns. If you guys have been watching, or if you guys did watch Pandora's Box, you'll be fairly familiar with this map. It spawns with 3 different types of spawns on the water. It's 6 fish, 7 fish, or 9 fish. No, 4 different types of spawns. 6, 7, 8, and 9 as the fish. And this is the minimum spawn here. So only a boost of 6 fishing ships. So there will be somewhat of an influence on the game with those fishing ships coming in, but it's not going to be as big as, say, the 9 ships or something like that. So in terms of all your timings and things, if you've worked them out to a T for this map, done a lot of practice, you're not going to see a whole lot of advantage here. The big thing that you do need to be aware of when playing on a map like this, and that's also in the map Competitive Mega Random, the map Tundra Pools, is how do you get all the fishing ships out and advance to the classical age at a fast time? Because if you go slowly in these maps and your opponent goes fast, they will find the advantage because they will be able to get themselves per scene out, which is going to boost their fishing ships by quite a bit. For every 3 fishing ships you have, per scene effectively gives you an extra fishing ship on said fish. So it's really important to get up to the second age, afford that technology, and get going. But we'll see what's going to happen here in this matchup. Given that it's a Greek mirror, generally speaking, we see in the Greek mirror fast second town centers, which also means that if you can get across the map and try and deny a town center, or even play for the map control here, deny this town center, and potentially you could play for like mass Hippocon here and have a good time with a lot of villagers on the gold early, potentially be able to afford at maybe like the 415, 430 mark, 3 stables of production straight away. You may be able to go for some sort of a gold stuff. Conversely, also Hades may be able to do exactly the same thing over onto Punkstar's side of the map. You can see gold here, over here. So some decent gold mines actually for Punkstar. Both players actually, if they grab that forward town center, they've got a decent gold mine each, like over here, this gold mine here, over here, this gold mine here. So we'll see how things are going to go and what they're actually going to try and do as Punkstar moving his villagers preemptively over onto the gold here as he wants to advance, going for a relatively quick advance time here. He was aiming for a 416, but he's gotten himself a 430 basically. Probably could have afforded to just get the extra villager out instead of going for the 416, but I like the attempt there. Domantas, on the other hand, a 430. No real problems where that's concerned. Lots of villagers on wood, lots of villagers on gold for both players. It would seem 7 on wood there, or 8 on wood there for Punkstar, and 8 on gold. So a pretty equal spread of villagers compared to Domantas, who's got just a little bit more on wood. He's also already got his 2 favor, both players, so they're going to be getting out their hero very, very early, their classical age hero Chiron and Hippolyta, and attempting to defend things as best as they can. So if we take a look at the resources here, it is a difficult one to really realize exactly what they're trying to do. Domantas here looks like he'll have the gold for a second town center. Punkstar looks like he'll also have the gold for a second town center. However, will he be able to have it straight away or not remains to be seen. Fishing ships dropping their fish off, and we'll see how things are going to start coming through in this game as the villagers get pulled off that gold mine there. 350 gold in the bank. This is going to be a town center drop. It looks like Punkstar is walking across the map, and this could be very, very spicy, ladies and gentlemen. The centaur coming after this location here. The villagers wandering forward. We've got 6 villagers and the Theseus moving forward here. The Katoskopos coming in to start shanking this one down. There's a Minotaur for Domantas. There's a Chiron. There's an Ajax. Do we have the hero out? Yes, we do. Punkstar sending his Apollo to forward. There is no way that this one is going to be going in Punkstar's favor. With Chiron coming through, we see Domantas deciding to pull back, dropping the stable down. There is a ceasefire here, which Punkstar can use to take this town center if he so chooses. And he does indeed decide to use that ceasefire to steal this town center away, as Domantas is going to be now leaving this location, moving up to the top. Wait, Domantas is deciding to not do that at all. He's going for the sneaky steal here. He made it look like he was going for this top town center, moving the villagers in that direction, but then he changed directions coming over here, and Punkstar, he's got no idea that this is what's happening right now. We've also got Hippocon coming out slowly for Domantas, so we'll have to wait and see what happens here, but archery ranges and stables coming through. Punkstar gets map control, but this town center over here, it could potentially get denied here if Punkstar can see this or not. We do see Theseus coming over here with Hippolyta, but I mean, there's just so many units here for Domantas already. Do we see a stable down anywhere? No stable. He's starting to get them up over here. Punkstar starting the villagers up as well. As the heroes sitting back on this location, they could potentially snipe the Minotaur here as the Chiron's going, looking for some stuff here. Looks like Theseus and Hippolyta don't actually spot the town center going up at this point, as the Minotaur does get taken down. We see the Chiron returning back over as the Hippocon is getting targeted as the main source of damage here, but the town center will be getting up here. Hippocon also manages to stay alive, and Punkstar has to retreat away. Both players potentially will have access to their opponent's Gazelle here somewhere. Wait, I guess the Gazelle here. So maybe Domantas actually has full advantage here, as he's got these Gazelle and he's got these Gazelle up here as well. We'll see how things go for Punkstar right now, but he basically needs to be putting everyone on food to be able to support his villager production, able to do that, and then he's going to have to start thinking about how many military units he wants to build. Same too for Domantas. How many military units do you want to build in these situations? But this is a wild start to this game. Both players taking their the opposing player's town center, but Punkstar down a classical age god power. Domantas has still got himself restoration, and not only that, he's going to be having himself an underworld potentially later in the game. He's going to be having himself the faster Toxotes and the stronger Toxotes to boot, as well as the stronger late game with those stronger buildings. Now, Poseidon does have his own advantages, unique advantages over Hades. Things like the militia can help out a ton, as well as the Hetyroi in the late game can also be a menace to deal with, even with the Hades buildings helping out quite a bit, as we're starting to see some farms getting shut down up here for Domantas. Domantas might decide to chuck his sentinels down over here, but actually, I told a lie, he's already chucked them onto this location there. As the Hippocon coming back up to the top side of the map. Punkstar might want to start thinking about walling off all of this over here. This gold mine being potentially the only gold mine that Domantas will have access to. It's going to be an easy one for Punkstar to kind of stop, as it were. Really, he's got plenty of access to this gold mine by moving through this path back over there. So this really looks like a great position for Punkstar if he can get around the fact that he is short a god power. Now, you can beat restoration in the heroic age, in the early heroic age, or even in the late heroic age, if that's a thing that ends up happening here with Curse as an idea. But while this is happening, look at this. We see the Doc sneaking in for Domantas. There is a Hippocampus here, but Doc comes down. I generally don't rate going for these sorts of plays in terms of in the classical age. If you go for this in the heroic age and you can get out hammer ships, they're much, much better, as we do see the little raid coming through onto the stables. The reason why I don't like the archer ships is because you can kind of push off a couple of fish, but it just costs so many resources that the amount of idle time you need to cause ends up not really being worth it, and it's a very easy thing to just counter and play around as the defending side. But with hammer ships, it's much easier to like kill the dock off and things like that. As the army now moving forward, and these villagers getting completely caught out of position. Domantas going hard onto this position, and not only that, Punkstar's town center is targeting down the stable over here instead of the army, and I think Domantas knows that. He's completely abusing this. He's moving through restoration, getting dropped down, more villagers getting taken out here. Domantas' villager count is actually completely equal right now with Punkstar, even though Punkstar got the town center up first at this point, and this is only going to continue getting worse here as Punkstar has to retreat away. More villagers getting taken out on this position, getting pushed off of that gold mine here as well. Population differential at this point is heavily in favor of Domantas. He's up by 15 or 20 population here. As the town center finally starts targeting down units over here, he's going to be able to take out that Toxotes there, potentially take out a Hippocon as well, and Domantas has to get out of there. But the damage has been done. Is it enough though? Was that a worthwhile raid or not? Remains to be seen. We do see the gold mine over here getting grabbed as well. We see villagers over on this gold mine now as well, as the gold in the main base for Domantas is about to expire. We'll see what he's going to do with these villagers. If he decides to just chuck them over onto wood, move these villagers potentially over onto the gold mine. He's moving up here to grab this large gold mine over there as well. It'll be interesting to see how things end up eventuating here with these gold problems, as we do see the trireme coming through. Punkstar reacts just a little bit late there. Thank you for the raiding party, Mr. Pound Town. What a lovely human. All right. We'll see how this is going to go. So Punkstar is actually not reacting to this in the slightest. Lots of resources in the bank. Might want to decide to grab this town center at some point. Alternatively, he could try and sneak this town center as the villagers do come through here. There is this Katoskopos checking this one out as the Toxotes still sitting idly over here. Hippocon going to be moving in onto this position as well to start raiding this one. We see the army of Domantas now going to start moving over onto this bottom side of the map to deal with these villagers over here, as the Toxotes also not doing all too much. Domantas hasn't paid attention at all. He's going to be losing so many villagers. He finally reacts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dead villagers on that position there, as the villagers going to be retreating back to the main town center here, almost losing another villager to boot. As we see the Hippocon coming in onto this position, villagers not going to be able to get this town center up at all. Looks like Punkstar is also going to be losing a bunch of villagers here. Nice play from Domantas. I think the next play for Punkstar's got to be to move his villagers up to grab this town center instead, because we've basically committed to cutting this map in half, and it's a very strange game here, as Domantas is now going to be grabbing this town center for himself. It's very equal on the economy here. Punkstar's got an excessive amount of gold in the bank for the time being. This is something that happens quite a lot to the lower level players. The way to fix this, the best way to fix this, is when you realize it, when you realize you've overgathered a resource, take all the villagers off of that resource and just say, no worries, we're going to put everything over onto food, everything over onto wood, and we're just going to let that gold drain. And then once it's drained a little bit and you realize, okay, time to put villagers back onto the gold, then you do it. And that way you can kind of always keep those resources balanced around everything there. But we are seeing that it looks like Domantas now getting counted on this water by the trireme of Punkstar. Didn't overbuild too many, just a couple, as the Hippocon's still searching around here for more villages. You can always return back over onto this gold mine. Punkstar, he hasn't really focused this down all too well. I feel like he could have kept a better eye on this. Just leaving one unit on the gold mine there could have been really helpful. While this is all going on, Domantas is like, no. You aren't allowed to mine from this gold mine. And that's basically what we're going to be seeing there. Thank you for the Prime Keto. 8 months, my friend. Thank you so much. As Domantas comes in, he's going to start taking down these villages as best as he possibly can here, as the villagers are going to be retreating away, but a lot of those losing their skin there, so to speak. And look at the villager differential now. It's 5 villages, 6 villages, but I mean, while it is an advantage, and we are seeing a return rate over here, so we're both losing. Both players are losing villages at this point. The real problems here, once you're hitting like 70 villages, 80 villages, losing 5 villages isn't that big of a deal. Obviously, it's going to be resources, but it's not like game ending. Like if you're on 30 villages and you lose 5 villages, then things can be much, much worse. But we see Domantas, look at this, he doesn't care. He's just moving right through this location here. He knows there's villagers here, finds them there. Punkstar going to be retreating those villagers back home. Domantas going after them. 1 villager down, 2 villagers down. Nice play here. Punkstar's reaction was good, able to survive, keep a lot of those villagers alive here. And now Punkstar has to retreat back over here and deal with what Domantas is doing. Meanwhile, villagers getting this town center up. Domantas is spidey senses tingling here as he's going to start shanking this down. And now Domantas can just simply move up to the top location. He's also clicked up through Aphrodite. His economic management here, while not being perfect, is good enough at this point to keep him in a really, really good position. Not only that, we're seeing Punkstar. He's being drawn in underneath this watchtower. There's no crenellations here, but watchtower town center, that's more than enough to push Punkstar back, as now we see the units coming up onto this position, and Punkstar's got to rethink where he's going to go with those villagers. As he pulls back, we see the double lines here as well to cause a little bit of problems on those villagers. But now Domantas is going up to 4 town centers. This is actually something he can kind of do here without too much fear, because he's already clicked up Aphrodite. It means he's in front in the tech. He's going to be in front in the population as well. So there's not really an avenue for Punkstar to create any sort of advantage here. As Aphrodite does come through for Domantas, Punkstar will be coming up through Aphrodite as well. Sultan 4 immediately coming through for Domantas. And we'll see how it all ends up going as we see more stables coming down here for Domantas. I'm interested to see if he goes for like a kind of an aggressive fortress here to start putting pressure onto this main base, because there's nothing around here for Punkstar to actually defend that location, and things could get really, really nasty for him. But we see Domantas going for the fortress over here. We've got the Toxotes taking out the enemy here. Nemean Lion coming through as well. Domantas got the food to advance to the next stage, not quite having the gold here. As we see some walls coming up, and Punkstar is going to try and do something sneaky here, potentially with the Petropolis coming out. Fortress in this position wouldn't be a bad idea either. As we see the Hippocon coming back in onto this position over here. Nemean Lion going to be doing a ton of damage to these Toxotes, as we see Curse going down for both players, as Domantas has to retreat back. Domantas sitting at 143 of 160 population, though, to Punkstar's 107 of 130 population. It's a big advantage to Domantas in this stage of the game, as the villagers of Domantas spot this wall coming up, and they're just going to say, no, we're going to shank this down, kill off this villager as best as we possibly can, and even get some Hippocon coming out here to deal with this. So we see the line coming through here, going to immediately take that out. Punkstar doesn't want to be allowing anything to happen in this game that gives Punkstar a chance to win, as we do see heavy Hippocon has come in for Punkstar, but we've got heavy Toxotes for Domantas, and interesting decisions here, interesting priorities. I guess we've also got heavy Toxotes for Punkstar as well, but fortified town centers coming through for Punkstar. Domantas doesn't have that, so it's only a 20 population lead at this moment here for Domantas. We'll have to wait and see how that's actually going to manifest itself moving forward. Heavy cavalry coming through here as well for Domantas as he gets the resources for the Mythic Age, and no surprises here, going for a very safe Hephaestus. No Artemis against Poseidon. Artemis oftentimes can be more of a curse than a blessing, because if you cast, say, Earthquake on here and you can pick off all these buildings, now Poseidon gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 militia, maybe even 12 militia after the Earthquake, and you're like, well, that's kind of worth 700 resources in of itself, and that's what the town center costs. So it's kind of a big deal there. And now Punkstar says the complete opposite. He's like, well, I need Artemis to get myself a town center back, to get myself an advantage here. But look at the building placement. If Domantas gets himself Masons here, I wouldn't be surprised to see this town center staying alive. Meanwhile, we see Punkstar. He goes for the dock over here, so he does manage to get in onto this water, and he's going to be able to clean Domantas up. But honestly, Domantas shouldn't care about that anymore. These trireme are basically dead weight after this dock goes down. They're not going to be able to do anything. So that's 10 population wasted there, and Domantas is already on 80 population in villages. Plus, he's about to get Hephaestus with the Plenty Vault, which is basically worth another 10 population anyways. So it's going to be completely fine here to just not have those fish. As Domantas starting to lose those Toxotes there. He's not paying attention. What is he doing? He's just running straight through that army. Loses everything here. have to wait and see if he's going to be able to continue to hold this position after this Earthquake comes through. We also see Spirited Charge coming through for Punkstar, as Architects coming through already for Domantas. And man, where would you click the Earthquake? Obviously, here the town center will come down. Here the town center will come down. This location, not so much. This one, the town center will come down. We'll have to wait and see what Punkstar goes for, but this is very, very scary time for Punkstar if he's not really aware of exactly what Masons or Architects, fortified town centers and a bunch of Hades buildings means. The other thing is that Domantas can pump even more buildings around here if the Earthquake doesn't get cast immediately. We do see it getting dropped in the main base, but look at that. The town center lives with 2,347 HP, not even close. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses, basically, in terms of HP, plus a tower. That's wild how strong that fortified town center's Architects can be, and completely denying an Earthquake's efficiency here. And Punkstar is taught a very, very valuable lesson right then and there, that maybe, just maybe, Artemis is not as overpowered or as TC town center guaranteed to kill as one might think. As the Colossus here going to get taken down, every unit coming after it. There is the Chimera factor to watch out for. Raids still coming through for Domantas, going through everything over here, trying to get as many villager kills as he possibly can. When you've got heavy cavalry, that's when these raids, kind of small raids, it's only 4 or 5 cavalry here. They can take out so many villages. They have so much HP, so much damage. But while this is going on, we see Punkstar. He's not happy about this town center being left alive. He's got the Heliopoli out, or Heliopolis out, I should say. Will he be able to take this town center down? Or will Punkstar be able to come through, or Domantas be able to come through and defend this? Looks like the army here of Domantas is starting to get very, very strong, though. He's got his armory upgrades coming through. He's got Forge of Olympus. He's got Champion Toxotes. The town center at half HP. It might be worth it for Domantas to start trying to repair this one back up, as the Chimera here getting targeted down by the Chiron will end up picking that one off, as Punkstar not microing it at all. We see another Heliopoli or Heliopolis coming through for Domantas. Punkstar's got 2. But he has to retreat back at this point because Domantas' population, Domantas' upgrades are too strong right now. Though we do already see Iron Mail actually coming through for Punkstar. We'll see how that's going to go. He's only got copper shields at this point against those Champion Toxotes, so there's not a whole lot of pierce armor. But it looks like Domantas has managed to hold for the time being. Not only that, Domantas has started a trade route. He's got 9 doggy caravans already. So he's in a really, really strong position. As the Heliopolis are going to be attacking each other, this is kind of what you want to be doing in a way. It's kind of the maximum amount of DPS you can do. And in that moment, Punkstar realizes he's not going to be able to get his town center back. He's too far behind on the economy. He's too far behind on the armor. And he's too far behind on the line upgrades. And he's just not going to be able to find an advantage moving forward in this game. A really, really interesting one here. Punkstar went for that town center steal, but Domantas' reaction to it was textbook perfect. He just said, look, I don't care. You have that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get this town center. What are you going to do about it? And it turned out that it was just too much for Punkstar to even just get this town center back up, get this one back up. I think had Punkstar just accepted that we're kind of, the forward base is going to be the military side of things, the main base is going to be the kind of more economic side of things. Therefore, this town center was the easiest one to get at that stage. Maybe Punkstar would have been able to make for a really, really interesting kind of late game here. But unfortunately, Punkstar goes for this town center, gets spotted by Domantas, and it cannot continue in the game with any sort of efficiency following that moment. Anyways, well played by Domantas, up 2-0. It's best of 5, so potentially another 3 games in this series. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.